The Nike Air Zoom Pegasus 40. Is it a keep or is it a flop? Let's find out. So before we get into the video, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're ready to subscribe watching this content. Thanks so much, love you guys a lot. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Strava for all sorts of other updates and things of that sort. So without further ado, let's begin. Specs for the shoe somewhere here. We'll get right into the outsoles of the shoe at my first impression stage of the shoe, and depending on how the review goes and you figure out my decision whether it's staying or not, it's going to be just important to compare later on as we go in the future here. So again, that's our outsole look of the shoes. Nothing in particular, just to kind of kick us off from what I've already done with the shoe. There might be something probably worth looking into, not necessarily on either side, but anyways, nothing of significant wear and tear to analyze at this point. Again, if I were to think about the average running shoe, or if you were to say, hey, describe a running shoe to me, I would usually think about the Nike Pegasus model shoe first. This just kind of signifies what a running shoe looks or is supposed to be in my case. In terms of performance now, that's a whole different story, but we're going to get into that, of course. So again, this is the Pegasus 40, so I have tried now 4 variations of this particular Pegasus family, starting with the 37, which I did in 2020. I've had the 38, the 39, and now the 40 as a shoe to experiment with. And the shoe quality, if I were to do just a quick comparison, has been at a decline, in my opinion, just for a really slow burn kind of long while. Up until this point where I've got some, contrasting thoughts to previous opinions on the shoe. So, what am I coughing about? Jeez. Anyways, we'll get right into it. So, specs of the shoe, of course. This particular model in size 8.5 runs at about 9.3, 9.4 ounces, giving it about 266 grams on average. We do have a heel of about 33 millimeters, a forefoot about 23, giving us that classic 10 millimeter offset that this shoe provides. And the reason for that, again, is one, it gives us that more forefoot kind of ball of foot strike encouragement just by having the high heel effect. And again, just having a higher heel, so if you are more of that heel striker, you have a little bit more cushion to kind of prevent any sort of plantar fasciitis or any sort of knee pain as a result of hitting the ground with your heel. Other things worth noting on this shoe, again, we just do have this classic thicker textile mesh that's kind of running the course of the shoe. Nothing too crazy about the shoe. I mean, I like the lacings that we got, the textile pieces for how the lacing is being weaved. I'm not a fan of the non-gusseted tongue, and I'm not a fan of the length of the tongue either, as this is kind of running short. The addition here that I've noticed compared to 39 at least is we do have this pull tab on the tongue to help kind of slide into it. But again, as someone who was a massive, massive fan of the first rendition of the Pegasus 37, that gusseted tongue was huge as part of the shoe's fit, and I enjoyed that shoe and that ride a lot. Now, in terms of the fit of this shoe, this is quite a snug fit. I expected nothing less from the Pegasus series. It's just supposed to be a comfortable ride, something that you can, slip into, kind of sink your teeth into, and basically just have a comfortable setup for whatever kind of run you're attempting to do in the shoe. Now, based on the performances, I have run in the shoe twice, no more than 10 miles total on the shoe at this point, and these are just kind of some of the thoughts I've had with it. The first time I ran with this shoe, I was expecting to experience some kind of tendonitis in my left foot while running in this shoe, whether it was the shoe design, the foam, some kind of combination of all of it, or something personal to, tendons or any sort of ligaments in my foot that may be causing me issues at this time while I'm running. And as I expected, this was the case. So in my left foot, there was like kind of like a headache pain in my arch of my foot. It was not painful. It wasn't any sort of sharp sort of sensation. It just felt like dull, and it just felt like I was developing like a headache on my foot. And from that, I'm running like a mile, then I kind of like take a few seconds off, run a half a mile, take a few seconds, etc., etc. And as a result, the first initial thoughts were reminding me of like my Pegasus 38 and 39 experience, which was that the ride of the shoe was just not fun. It just wasn't cool at all. And now this is just the treadmill, right? And I was just trying to fluctuate with different speeds to kind of see what was going on, see if I can activate the air zoom pocket or the pod that's in the forefoot area of the shoe, or kind of like midfoot area right there, more or less. And what I ended up finding out now when I ran on the roads was two things. And you can decide whether these are positives, negatives, or some kind of neutrals. But number one, my pace was consistent all the way across my run. So if I find the screenshot of the Strava, I'll paste it. But I went for a run yesterday just out in the cold, just kind of on hilly terrain for about 5.5 miles. And this sounds to me, this sounds slow because I kind of know what my general pace is. And for others, they might be saying, whoa, you ran this pace, is insane. But I was able to hold somewhere around like 8-10 pace average per mile, regardless of the conditions in which I was running in, which was one, kind of strange, and two, something I deemed as a plus, that like, okay, the shoe might not have the world's greatest energy return at this time because the air zoom pocket and like the structure with this particular tread, maybe the React foam in this case, or whatever compound of React they're using, basically the energy return is just flat. It's not there, but I'm still having a consistent run, right? So the pace is consistent. So maybe this shoe is not entirely to blame here. There might be something more, as I've talked about it kind of last year and the second half of 2023, where my runs were quickly getting bad and my fitness was kind of falling apart. We were doing less of this and more of this, right? So I did a lot of this when it came to the Pegasus 38 and 39, and some people agreed, some people disagreed with it, but I'll take it back again and just kind of keep it to my principles here, which is like, if I'm running in this shoe and I'm not having a good time in this shoe, what am I doing wrong? Or what's going on that I'm not having a good sensation while riding in this shoe? And I think what it really does come down to is a potential for some kind of tendonitis in my left foot in the arch area. Not so much plantar fasciitis, because I'm not heel striking. That's mostly kind of a heel striking sensation. Doesn't happen for someone like me who does more of this like mid to forefoot strike area here. So maybe there's a couple of things. Maybe there's something in between. Like we can have two things can be true at the same time, right? Maybe there's a problem with me, and maybe there is a problem with the shoe. Maybe I don't have the proper orthopedic in this particular shoe to give me arch support, which otherwise could have been present in the Boston 12, which could have been present in the Vaporfly Next Percent 3, or the Vaporfly Next Percent 2 and 3, which I'm using, and I don't experience this arch pain in. So it's something also worth considering that like some shoes you experience the pain, and in this one I don't. Is it the orthopedics? Is it the potential, I guess, presence of some kind of carbon or nylon plate in the shoe that gives it some rigidity, some reinforcement? And maybe because the shoe is so soft, it's relying more on the strength of your foot rather than the strength of the shoe for a ride. Like, these are things I'm thinking more and more about, because there was a positive that came out of running in this shoe despite being kind of slow, right? Obviously now I know that I could use this for like my recovery and easy run type of days where I want to run a little bit longer and spend more time on feet. But also, if I'm trying to tackle this tendonitis sensation I'm experiencing in my left foot, it's a good way to take it head on rather than taking like rest days away from it. Like, run in this shoe, try to target what's going on, and maybe through running in this shoe, I'm forcing the areas that may be experiencing this dullness to start increasing in strength. And as a result, maybe spending some more time in a non-carbon plate shoe is probably a good thing for me. Probably good for this tendonitis, probably good for my fibula and tendons running along the sides of both of my legs that are also taking a massive impact. The peroneal tendons, I would say, they're taking a massive impact from running in a stiffer carbon plate shoe. So maybe running in something softer like I did in 2017, 2018, and like the beginning of 2019 could be a good thing overall. So yeah, these are just things, again, I'm thinking about more and more as I'm practicing more in this shoe. So I'm trying to give it some more leeway. And look, it's a shoe that cost me about $120, $130 at the time that I bought it. It's not a massive investment. So if I'm practicing in this shoe and it just turns out it really sucks, and the pain is not wearing off, or like the slow runs are just kind of really becoming a massive burn and massive detriment, I return the shoe. It's fine. But at this point, again, giving it more leeway, I'm not being as, I guess, as stingy as I was with the Pegasus 38 and the 39. Like, I'm willing to kind of give Nike an olive branch here with the 40 and to say, okay, like, the Pegasus 37 was a really god-tier daily trainer. You kind of botched the two trainers after that, but now we've got this thing, which really isn't too deviant from your last two models, but there are certain things about it that I think can help me, and if they are, then excellent. Then, like, the shoe is doing its job and a little bit more, I would say. So that's kind of where we're going to run with this shoe. So overall summary, I guess what I would say is I would not use this as your race day kind of shoe. I would use it as your recovery and easy run type of style workouts if you have them. So like if you're doing 5 to 6 miles of easy pace, or even more than that, up to like 10 miles, I would say is pretty good, then I would consider something else. This is probably a good shoe for those types of workouts. If you have some sort of weak feet or anything like that, this shoe might help with those cases. If just, also running barefoot will help you, but like running a shoe without as much arch support could help. Don't quote me on that. Again, I'm not an orthopedic, or I don't have like a professional opinion on that. These are just like personal experiences I've had sort of at this time with this shoe in particular. So yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a journey for now, which the journey could last like 2 weeks maximum. You don't know. And if the shoe is performing well after like a month and maybe like 100 miles, then, we'll keep it. We'll just run with it and just see what we can do. But we're going to try to deviate again in my normal training life away from constantly running in a carbon plate shoe, kind of run more in this free foam shoe, which in this case is the React foam going all the way across, and just see if this will help with any sort of tendonitis that's kind of occurring in my left foot. But at this time, again, not so much of a massive energy return from this shoe, so don't hold this thing to high expectations when you're looking for it for a speed workout, but look for it as just like your comfortable daily trainer and something comfortable to walk in if you're going to use it for that. So at this time, if you agree or disagree with this assessment, let me know in the comments below. There's still more to come. Again, after first impressions, it's kind of hard to give you more of my performance analysis of the shoe, but we'll see. We will get there. We'll continue reviewing the shoe and just kind of seeing what happens with it and see if it can ever come close to what the Pegasus 37 was for me. So I will end the video here. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.